Hey, it's David Andrew Wiebe, and I am on my daily walk. Today's episode is about whether or not we should strive to become known as artists. Should we become public figures and celebrities or social media influencers? There are some obvious advantages. Your fans or followers can act as your sales force, and you have a built-in audience the moment you come out with something new. Your new music, your art, a new film, a new book. Anything you come out with, if you've got a following that cares and is engaged, you have a built-in fan base that will purchase what you have to offer. Not everyone who follows you will care about what you say. Not everyone who follows you will buy what you have to sell. But there is an advantage. Nowadays, even movie studios have recognized the advantage of a social media following. We live in an age when actors and actresses get hired because of their social media following, even if they are inferior in their skill as actors and actresses. For a long time, I've adopted a bit of an artist mentality on this myself. I'm not sure exactly where I picked it up, but there's a lot of artists who basically seem to think, I don't really want to be known. I don't really care about being famous. I just want my music to be heard. So I just want my music to be known. I want my creations to be known. Is this impossible? No, not at all. There's plenty of artists who are not household names, whose music or books or artistic works are known. So if that's a path that you would want to pursue, it is viable. That said, I don't think this attitude has served me well. I've been on this green earth for a few decades now, and something that I've continually returned to upon reflection, time and time again, is the fact that I do want to be known. I do want to be a public figure. I do want to be a celebrity. And maybe this could stem from some of the trauma, some of the challenges, some of the difficulties that I've personally gone through. For those who don't know, my dad passed away when I was 13. When people ask me what's the biggest challenge in my artistic career, music career, entrepreneurial career, it's that. It's the fact that my dad passed away when I was 13, that I had a huge macro impact on my life moving forward. And I had a great sense of confidence about myself that I'm not sure I've totally recaptured. Certainly, I've delved deep into personal development. I've gone to counseling. I've been to grief and loss groups, and I've seen a couple of psychologists. But one thing that I just really haven't been able to recapture for whatever reason is this sense of personal confidence that I had when I was much younger. I always seemed to put people first, And in high school, I was darn well near a doormat. That was something of my own doing, though. It's not as though someone forced that choice upon me. If someone asked me for money in high school, I just gave it to them. I didn't care. So pretty soon people were just coming to me going, hey, will you buy me a slice of pizza? Hey, will you buy me lunch? And I was like, I got lots of money. Money doesn't make you happy, I can tell you from experience. And people didn't know that I had $250,000 sitting in my bank account. But of course I was wrong. It probably wasn't a good idea to hand out money left, right, and center, because I've had my struggles just as anybody else has. I've gone broke and in debt at least 2 or 3 times at this point. It's never been a pleasant experience. A lot of people will go, well, how could you lose all that money? Most of it went into a car and a home, but there was also an economic downturn in 2008 that had a huge impact on my personal investments. But this isn't a conversation about income specifically. Income is obviously going to play into how well known you are, but it's a conversation about self. What is right for you? And I've just always had a nagging sense that I'm meant to be out there in some capacity. I have invested so heavily into myself that I'm hungry for opportunities to share my knowledge and experience with others, and to continue refining my communication skills and presentation skills so that my message lands. I kind of avoided and ignored social media for a long time, thinking that was probably the right decision for me. After all, I wasn't one of these crazy people that needed validation for every little thing I did. But I've come this far in life to discover that maybe that's more of a calling than a need for a validation. For me, becoming known and recognized and acknowledged for the work that I do and being celebrated is a great piece of the fulfillment pie. So it was no one else that put it off. I was the one that put it off. But it's not something I'm willing to put off any longer. And I know I've got a long road ahead of me. It's not like I'm starting from zero. I've got a following. I've got a very decent following when I add together all the numbers from the various social networks that I've built a presence on. But to get to a point where I'm known, where I'm in demand, when people continually come to me and ask for me for my advice, for an interview, for the things that I really want to do in life that would really fulfill me and allow me to shine at the brightest, is going to require some hard work. It's not going to come by accident. Now, at the end of the day, I can't tell you whether or not you should become known. You probably know the answer on the inside as well. It's possible you've denied that part of yourself to this point, just like me, and then you come to this point much later in life, maybe a decade or two, or even 3 decades later, recognizing that, oops, maybe I should have put a little bit more energy into becoming known, because it seems as though, even though I would love for just my music or my art to be known, that's not really happening. So me becoming known is a crucial element to all this after all. Or you could totally be like some artists who'd rather be recluse. Prince was a well-known eccentric and recluse. He didn't do many interviews. No one really seemed to hate him for it, though. He just created really excellent, great music. But this is something for you to ponder. This is something for you to ask yourself. Is it worthwhile? Would it be a part of your fulfillment? Would you feel differently about yourself if you had a following, if you were known, if you were celebrated, if you were an influencer or a public figure? How would that impact your career? And what could you do today to start moving in that direction?
Thanks for listening. The opening theme, closing theme, and closing segment ambient music was created by Brian Bob Young. If other music was used in this episode, it's credited in the show notes at musicentrepreneurhq.com. Please leave us a rating and review in iTunes to help us spread the word about the show.